Welcome back from that short commercial break, and it's exactly 3 minutes that's past the hour of 9 a.m. and at this particular time it's the topic of discussion, and this time around we are talking the media and art industry. Of course, art and media are the same, and of course we are going to get some insights regarding how this industry really operates. We want to know what's the future, what's the economic potential this industry has to this country's economy. We've seen so many developed countries that the art industry contributes a certain percentage when it comes to the gross domestic product. But what is the case for Uganda? And with me on set is a guest, an expert into the field, of course, of the creative industry, art industry, and is going to give us an insight regarding how it really operates in Uganda and what's the way forward. I'm blessed and glad to have Mr. Wesley.
Thank you.
For the introduction for yourself.
I am humbled.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Introduction of myself?
A little, just like in 1 minute.
Little bit, I think to simplify, the easiest way to put it is I'm a creative.
Creative, yeah.
I'm into media,
yeah.
So I'm behind the camera, but I'm also a creative by practice.
Okay.
I create and design jewelry, fashion, and everything else that goes in between.
Oh, well, that's really very exciting. I mean, you talked about media,
yeah.
and so many people have this mentality about what is media. How can somebody really describe what media is? I feel like it manifests in quite so many ways.
Yes.
How do you define media? How, according to you?
I think for me, the best way to define media is the channels by which you communicate a message.
Yeah.
Your art form, if it's music, poetry, you need media to be able to communicate that.
Yeah.
Even if it's branding, advertising, that is media. So I think anything to do with communicating a message or information via camera or radio, that, to simplify, I think that's media. Yes. And then to get into it a bit more, banners, posters, those kind of things still also fall under the concept of media as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank is driving us through the media industry. But I believe by the end of today, if you are the person that is engaging into this industry in particular, I believe you're going to be really very well educated regarding this aspect, and you will be in position, of course, to get some more knowledge regarding that. Any form of communication. We have the social media, we have the channel medias, like for example, let me say the cable network televisions, I know, satellite televisions, and all that falls under the media, social media. Well, so Wesley, we are talking about media in Uganda this particular round, and we are looking at its potential to resolve that's economic potential. You know, they're quite, I believe there are possible employment benefits from this media. Let's take a look at that. According to your experience, how have you found the money-making side using the media?
Interesting. One of the main things that I moved back to Uganda for, I was in London. I grew up in London.
Yeah.
I studied music business and media management.
Good.
But then I moved back to Uganda because I saw that there was a lot of space and opportunity in specifically the media industry.
The media industry.
Yes. And if you have the skill set, access to equipment, and the knowledge, I think there is a lot of room for individuals to be able to make a solid income for themselves.
Okay.
I don't think there is as much competition between videographers, photographers, as much as there would be in the Western world. London, America, those kind of places, there's hyper competition because it's easier to be able to access cameras. You can buy cameras secondhand. You can work for 3 weeks in your cleaning job and afford to buy your camera. Whereas here, those kind of things are not as available.
Okay.
So you don't have as many people filming or having access to equipment, even though they might want to.
Okay.
As much as it's a detriment to the industry, it's also an opportunity for someone coming in because it's not saturated. So there is definitely opportunity for money to be made in the media industry. Even when it becomes saturated, there is still money to be made because every business, every individual is looking for a good way to communicate their message. A brand uses Instagram, social media. You still need an individual that has the know-how of media to help communicate your brand or message. Okay. So there is big potential for money making in media. Yes.
You know, you talked about if you know what to do and how to do it. I know we have a challenge is that in this country, people, in most cases, I want to say It's a challenge as such, but probably something that we need to work on. That knowing some people think that to be a part of the media industry, it's all about your talent. Probably you're talented about something, and you know sometimes people get frustrated at the end of the day. Talking about how to do something that was very, very critical, having a knowledge and a know-how to do that. Let's talk about that. Is it really about the talent to make the money out there, or there are quite other steps that should be added to that?
Very good question. Very good question. So now I've heard, I don't know if you've heard the saying, but there is a saying along the lines of hard work will beat talent. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You can have the talent there, but if you're not matching it with the consistency of work, the discipline of execution, because you can find creatives that will assume, which was my issue with initially. I'm a creative, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I know how to do that. That should be enough. But it's not. The talent is only one aspect of it. Outside of that, you need to have, I don't know if it's entrepreneurial skills, you need to have communication skills, your personality is part of it as well, how you talk to people, how you present yourself
to the people.
Exactly, yes. So in and amongst, alongside talent, there is also the work, the discipline, the consistency every day. You have to be awake at a certain time. There are people who think because I'm talented, it's going to do it. Yes, my voice is good.
Voice is good,
No, you have to be on time. You have to present yourself, you have to be able to communicate well. So there are other elements, especially the entrepreneurial element, the business element.
That's very important because it's something that majority of Ugandans don't really take note of, like to pay attention to that. So now we're trying to see how aggressive you can be as a person. You actually can benefit from this industry. Yes.
I think one of the benefits to our generation right now is the technological advancements, the growth of social media, the access to social media, which has allowed us to take a glance at what the rest of the world is doing just through TikTok, Instagram. We may not be actively posting, but we're always watching and seeing, oh, this is how they do it over there, this is how they do it there. So now our minds are also being fueled with ideas of how to potentially do things, but the know-how isn't there completely.
The know-how.
We may know that this is something I could potentially do, or I like that, how they did that over there, but how do I do it, or how do I start?
How do I start that?
Yes.
Don't you think it's important for people to go and take courses regarding this?
Very good key thing. I think that the other thing that I'm also passionate about, and I believe is important that you said, is the education, the courses.
Education.
Yes. So currently, it's difficult to find a whole plethora of creative industry courses right now, because some of them are not accessible physically. Online, they are. If you have the money to spend on your online course, there are those options, but if not, YouTube is a great teacher. YouTube is an amazing
the University of YouTube.
Yes, exactly. The University of YouTube has schooled so many people, and I think it's an area that we should take a look at, because for those communities that may not have the budget to be able to sit down and do a course on video editing or social media or whatever the creative thing might be, you could prep yourself by studying through YouTube until the opportunity presents itself for you to take things to the next level. I don't believe in sitting around dormant waiting for the opportunity to come. If you can learn whatever small bits and pieces you can through YouTube, self-taught, that it's like investing in yourself. You may not have the money, but if you invest that knowledge in yourself, you teach yourself, something along that line will come and present itself as an opportunity to take you to the next level.
Wow, very interesting. We're still down here with Wesley, of course, discussing the media industry in Uganda in particular. How best can you make money from this? And of course we can't realize that having talent alone is not enough. You need to accompany it with the entrepreneurial skills, and this is going to help you, of course, to boost up your game very hard, and you will be unstoppable in regarding to that aspect. Actually, I remember I was listening to a certain song, and you know, this gentleman is a rapper, he's a business person, he's made quite a lot of money. And of course, he's none other than Jay-Z. And in the introduction of the song, he's saying, he was told that whenever you're doing a project, do it like it's your first, do it like it's your last, that will enable you to not to flop, what they call that language flopping. You will be on point. No wonder he's been making money for the rest of his life regarding that. So it's very important. Entrepreneurial skills, be hungry for what you're doing, and that's going to be a very important. Now let's talk about that. Okay, now there is this other aspect of commitment, like the commitment that people give to their craft.
Yes.
The time,
yes.
the time they give to their craft, because you find that there are people that, for example, somebody goes to a studio, he does a song and wants it that very day. So let's look at time, because people don't know that this industry actually needs time. You get that? So I want us to tell me, according to your experience, why is it important to value commitment and time you give to your craft if you really want money from that?
That is an excellent point. In fact, I think to avoid your own stresses, to avoid your own blood sugar levels and any of those things, you have to include time as a bigger factor as finances.
Perfect.
The time it takes for any kind of product to be made, it's not like fast food. You can get fast food, but it's not always the best for you. You want someone that's taken their time, he's cooked it, he's done it with love, it's nutritious. I think it's in the same degree with the creative outlet.
The creative,
Even from a producer to a songwriter to someone who's doing some pottery, you don't want someone who's just going to do it really fast and make mistakes or anything like that. I think for the sake of understanding how this journey would go, because all life itself is a journey, but the creative's journey is, I believe, at times the utmost frustration, because you're trying to give birth to an idea or a vision, and only you understand it. It's in your head, you're trying to communicate it, but there is a frustration that comes with not being able to bring to reality the thing you've had in your mind. Sometimes it takes longer than a day, a week, or even a few years. I say sometimes scientists and artists are almost of the same breath. A scientist will have a theory that he will have to put into practice, but it will take time. Sometimes they'll have to wait for technologies to come before they can do anything.
Exactly.
It's not as deep with the creative industry, but a similar thing has to be taken into consideration. You need to allow time for your business to get to where it needs to get to, but also for you to develop as an artist. Especially for even, I think it's more seen with musicians. Someone may come out, will put out a song, they believe and know within themselves, this is the biggest thing.
It's a nice breaker.
Exactly. But he may play it to a general population and be like, oh man, what's this? It's like you're new to the game, there's still things you have to learn. So I think you have to give yourself time to grow as an artist so that you can develop your skill, become better. I think they say Mozart was one of the youngest musicians at the time, but some of the stuff that they were composing as a child was rubbish. It's just the fact that he was doing it from such a young age. They didn't create some of their most amazing stuff until they developed later on in life. So I think we need to step back from the concept of I'm going to be the best I am, even though I've been doing it for such a small period of time. There is a beauty in allowing yourself to grow in your art form, and that requires time and patience.
Well, that's a very, very strong point right there. We talk in the media industry, the creative industry, the art industry in particular. How best can you really thrive in this industry? It's quite very competitive. Wesley, there is this aspect also, is that when a new artist probably may not be an artist, it could be doing something, and probably he has this mindset, hey, that when I release my demo or my mixtape to this record label, probably I'm going to get $1 million deal, and they take it to the record label, and surprisingly they get surprised about what the response, like what you said, the things you have to work on. How can we avoid that, despite the fact that, because it's okay, I need to feel confident, I need to feel the confidence. But then let's understand the value of growth and talk about growth. I mean, like, in just a little detail regarding what does it take for somebody to grow their craft, that it can be reach a level that it is sellable to a record label? Because I've seen people getting frustrated. I mean, I took my mixtape to this record label. I thought I was going to get a record $1 million deal, but I didn't get it. Let's talk about that.
That's a good point. I think the ingredients that an individual should have to have that kind of confidence, but also balance between where I'm at in regards to my monetary value. I think having the right mentors helps in guiding you correctly.
Mentors, that's perfect. Did you just hear that? Mentors, very, very perfect. Go on.
Yes, thank you. Having the right mentors, the right teachers that can guide you the right way. So I think, which is why it's up to, let's say for the sake of argument, using musicians as an example. You said, he's taking his music there, he's ready to get like a big deal. He thought the money was coming through, exactly. But they shut the door on him. I think if you have a good team around you that can communicate where you're, like this is for the music industry specifically. If you have someone that can tell you where you are, maybe work on this a little bit, maybe work on that. In the West, there are entire departments of the music industry that are committed to artist development. They will have artists sitting on a label for anything from 6 months to a year while they're developing them before they put them out into the real world. So that's stage training, breathing exercises, vocal training, interview practicing. Some of these record labels have all these things implemented to make sure that when they put out their investment, you as the musician, because you are an investment, you're
you're an asset.
Exactly. You're able to recoup at the best of your ability. The music industry now has been worked down to a perfect science, whereby individual is like, you've seen some people talk about how there is a conveyor belt of where they're just spitting out artists. In the West, they have that capability of doing that because they understand the game. They know that there is, like I mentioned before, communication. Not that everyone has to be fine cut and perfectly tuned, because they'll also tell you bad publicity is also good publicity. You can also be who you are and whatnot, but for a record label to really be able to recoup off of their artists, there is a whole bunch of things that they take into consideration before. Whereas guys over here, they'll be in the studio 2 weeks, they'll put out their music, their peers have told them this
you have it,
exactly,
you get it.
And which is good for confidence, yes. But I think what the musicians now need to do is maybe continue putting out music. I think you're only as good as your last project. Don't put out one thing and assume it's the biggest thing to hit. But continue putting out, because your next project hopefully should be bigger and better. You learned things from your last project that's going to do better. Now you've exposed, you can get more features. So I think understanding that there is a whole industry that is operating to the finest details, I think those things will help in pushing things forward and making sure that you can monetize yourself to the best of your ability, and you're not getting disappointed when people turn you down. It could be just because you needed to have a better understanding of where you were, or someone just to tell you it's not there yet, maybe turn the volume down, or whatever the case may be.
Wow, that's very interesting, Weasley, right there. Actually, before we get into a break, because I believe I'm left with just 4 minutes, we get into a break. Of course, we shall be returning to wind up. And let's talk about the aspect of, there is this challenge that we've been facing, that financing. You talked about equipment. You talked about equipment. Despite that you want to make money, you need to invest in money at the end of the day. So let's talk about that, how somebody can survive and really put their craft out there with the limited investment. Because it's a challenge.
It is a challenge. I think this is where connectivity and interdependence comes into play. Because individuals can't do it by themselves. No creative can do anything, but apart from the actual creative output, whatever it is your skill is, maybe you can do that by yourself, it's your gift. But beyond that, this is where governments come into play, private sector comes into play, even members of the diaspora come into play in coming to either give education or give financing or providing facilities that are going to help support our creatives. So there is the hustle mentality that an individual must have to look at all the resources that they have to see what they can do for themselves. But at the same time, the community of professionals who have been there, done that, also have somewhat of a duty to each one teach one, to help the next one coming through. So I think that Uganda has a great, or Africa, let's say, has a great opportunity in maybe tapping into the diaspora or other, let's say, private sector. The government has been a bit slow to cater to the industry, and I think that might be because of their definition of it. They might think creativity is just pottery and creatives and stuff, but they don't know it's this thing that you can really invest in and get really big money economically. Exactly. So I think while we wait for government to wake up to it, I think it's important for creatives who are in the industry, who have been able to make money and are of that kind of cloth where they feel like that they can contribute. They should come back and see how they can help facilitate those who are trying to find a way to do it. So it's a marriage of the hustle mentality from the individual, because you have to do what you can with what you've got, but also the support from peers and outside and anyone else on the wider community. That's
very interesting. We are still down here with Wesley, of course, discussing the media industry, art industry, how best you can make money and how best you can actually make it a business for you to really earn something from it. And he mentioned something about the quality, like what it takes to groom an artist. You know, you talked about the whole process, what they go through regarding examining the artist. It's an entire team. It's very interesting. But in our country, Uganda, it's literally that's a one man's. Find that you're the producer, you're everything. How dangerous is that in 1 minute as we go?
It's very dangerous quickly, because you're cutting out jobs for other members of the creative industry. People don't realize that, again, for the sake of argument, the music industry is made up of managers, producers, A&R members, there is the record label, there's the band manager, there's all the, even in a media team, there is the runners, there's the guy that does lighting, there's the guy that does sound. All of these are individual disciplines. If you try and take on sound by yourself, you won't know the levels, you won't know what lighting gets you, because this individual has gone to study sound, this person's gone to study light, this person's gone to study set design, stylist. So by one man trying to cover all, you're cutting out job opportunities for other members of the creative industry who may not be creative per se, but are passionate about supporting creative industries.
I think that explains why when a movie, watch these movies in Hollywood, they end, you find a whole cast of whole batch of people,
and you see how much it pays.
How much is that? Like, that's really interesting. All right, I was still down here with Wesley discussing the media industry, how best you can make money. It's a very potential business avenue for you out there. If you're really passionate and you're called for this, I believe it's a calling. All right, let's get into a short commercial break. I'll be returning still with Wesley as we wind up the topic of discussion. Stick around. Good morning.